All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yes, ma'am.
Fantastic. Sorry, my Skype messes up sometimes.
Okay, it's all good. It's all good. Obviously, I apologize as well. That tricky Skype. Okay, so we have our guest on the program, Miss Olivia. If you want to tell the audience, the listeners, anything about yourself, anything that you think is relevant before we get started, then feel free to go ahead.
All right, I guess my name is Olivia Straub. I am a senior currently at Colgate University, and I guess I'm a white student, and the reason I guess you contacted me was because of this article that I wrote called "I Am Racist and So Are You," and I guess that's pretty much the basics for now. Is there anything else you'd like me to say?
Oh no. That is good. You are, as you said, you are a white female, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Here on Reckless 2.0, we've unfortunately surmised that we are in a global system, white supremacy. I believe I emailed you the definition. It's a global system of unjust imbalance of power, maintained, refined, and dominated by people who classify themselves as white to the detriment of people who classify themselves as non-white in all areas of activity. Do you believe that such a system exists, and do you agree with that definition?
Yes, definitely. I do agree that we do live in a system of white supremacy. One thing that would modify in the definition, which is a very slight thing, is just that I do think that in terms of meeting people face-to-face and in terms of aversive racism, I think sometimes the perception of looking white can be a benefit as well. But other than that, I completely agree with you that we do live in a system of white supremacy, and it's to the detriment of people of color. But, yes.
All righty. Vickiss, did you have any questions?
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you once again for, for coming on the program. And I guess I would, first off, just ask what exactly prompted you to write this article, I Am Racist and So Are You? And would you mind just going in, summarizing the article for our listeners and what prompted you to writing an article, especially being a white female at Colgate University?
Okay. Well, a lot of this was, start from the beginning, this began in the beginning of this semester. This white gentleman wrote an article conflating the problems of racism and the Greek system on campus. And in the end, they became one and the same thing, to the point where a lot of the minority students or students of color that he was speaking for did not necessarily agree with him. And most did not agree with him. But yet he continued to add on people's names and just start a whole problem. This affected a lot of my friends. And the point where I was finally decided I couldn't handle it anymore was one of my friends of color. I mentioned this in the article. One of my friends of color comes into my room crying and upset about an incident that happened, a racist incident, and just seeing what my friends of color go through and how much they struggle here. I decided I needed to do something as a white student because it's a lot easier for white people to put aside, when people of color say that they face racism, it's a lot easier for white people to put that aside and say, nah, it's not true, just you want all these benefits, you don't work hard enough, and just go on and say some ignorant stuff like that. Whereas if it's coming from a white point of view, I feel in some way that could be, yes, it is brushed aside as well, but it could be in that, it could be seen as sort of, sorry, I'm not very eloquent, but it could be seen as that this actually is a problem. People might be a little bit more open to that. But yet they still not are as open to it. And the article basically talks about the system, the institutional racism that's in the U.S., and that basically because I and other people are white in the United States and we're complicit in this system of racism, or complicit in this system, we are inherently racist. And that is, I think that's the gist of the article.
Wow. I don't even know where to start with that. I do totally agree that people who classify themselves as white are culpable in the complicity of allowing racism, white supremacy to be practiced. I guess just my first question would be, what do you think the response would have been if a non-white person, particularly a black person, or a dark-skinned person had written this article? Do you think it would have been deemed as quote-unquote racist, or what do you think the reaction would have been?
Actually, prior to my article being written out, a black gentleman, a black friend, wrote an article similar, saying a similar message from a different point of view, basically saying that Colgate is racist, and he received a lot of backlash, a lot of racist comments were made on his article. A lot of students actually came up to him and said racist things to his face, and it was taken very negatively.
Ooh.
And it wasn't received very well. Where it was received more with I guess more hostility, whereas when I wrote the article was more sort of glanced over, I guess.
So, what was the I guess the response from white people after writing such an article? What was the just reactions that you got on campus or through email and things like that?
Through email, through the comments, I got the typical reactions. Mostly the reactions of we're not in a racist society. There's just people making excuses. I can't remember exactly what was said, but more along those typical things. One person said that it's the dominant race in each culture that is in power and it gets all the benefits, which is not very true. I think white supremacy is something that's just not in the U.S. but in the world. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
What were the reactions, I guess, around on campus from the white students?
And I didn't get any face-to-face reactions, only a few positive reactions were only the ones that came face-to-face with me. I actually, unlike Chanel, I didn't receive, or unlike the black man who wrote the article, he received a lot of negative reactions, and those are the ones that were expressed to him. Positive reactions as well, but negative were expressed to him, whereas the only people who came face-to-face with me were people who said they liked the article. Face-to-face, I didn't get any negative reactions. But it's sort of behind the scenes, on comments on the article or emails that I got were more negative, saying that the article was wrong and that I had no factual evidence for my article.
And these positive reactions, were they from non-white people?
Yes, most were. But there's a few white people who do try to understand the position that students of color and people of color are in this in America and the U.S. Who did give a positive reaction, a few white students as well.
Interesting. D-Train?
No. D-Train.
D-Train, are you there? You muted? Let me see if he's here.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Muted.
Muted on both fronts, yeah. Sorry. I was actually going to pull up an article from my time at a liberal arts college, I would guess similar to Colgate, and read the article. But basically, the article mysteriously isn't there anymore, even though I just read it about a week ago. Quite interesting. But basically, I'll just give the title of the article. The title of the article is "Admissions Policy Should Reflect Talent, Not Background." And this was written by a white student at my time at a liberal arts college, very similar to Colgate. And it caused intense backlash from the non-white people on campus at the time. And I just wanted to know, is there an atmosphere at Colgate where the white people there feel like the non-white people there don't deserve to be there, or they're only there because of affirmative action, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes, there definitely is a lot of backlash against that. A lot of the white students believe just very negative things about students of color, that they really actually don't belong to be there, don't belong there. Save for I guess like international students who are ones who they make exceptions for, but specifically Southeast Asians because of the stereotypes that are just associated with them. But there's we have a program called OUS, which is for students. It's the semester before. It's for the summer before freshman year of college. For some students who might have like difficulty in a Colgate. It's a different environment. It's just basically a support system. It's a group of about 30 students who get 2 credits over the summer, and there's a couple of different qualifiers that you have to be there. One of the things is that you're the first generation college student, your financial situation, and if you're a minority, and you have to fill some requirement of those 3. And depending on also which high school you went to, if it was private or public. And a lot of students here think that OUS is just specifically for Black students, and that it's an affirmative action thing, and that OUS is viewed very negatively. That a lot of I was talking to a professor recently, and a lot of psychology students want to study OUS students to see how their transition was. So basically study these students who they perceive as just minority students to see how they have adjusted to Colgate's environment. And they're viewed sort of as not needing to be there, that they're, whenever minority students, they're usually there for other reasons besides their academics. They're there for affirmative action, or they're there for athletics mostly, and that's just what a lot of people do believe. And they get surprised when students of color actually, they're actually brilliant people, but and they got in on their own merit. It's not very. It's kind of disgusting, but yeah.
Trifling.
Yes.
I guess I would ask, given that context, where you have, white people working as a system to disenfranchise, mistreat non-white people, what are some ways that you think that non-white people should deal with white people on an everyday basis? In order, just for personal protection and to counter their actions?
At this point, honestly, this is a tough question to address. The way I see my friends address all the white people, the way I see non-white people on this campus address white people is honestly as good as white people deserve to get it. I'm actually kind of surprised that they're able to restrain themselves with the way that they've been treated. I think it actually should be more on white people now to get educated and to educate other white people, because it shouldn't be the job of non-white people to educate ignorant white people. It's not what should come with being non-white or person of color.
I have a question. What exactly are white people ignorant of, and what are they being educated on by the non-white people?
Okay. I think white people are ignorant of the fact that we do live in a racist society and that there's still very institutional, that there's institutional racism, systemic racism, aversive racism, dominant racism. That we live in a system of white supremacy, and I think that's what they're very ignorant of still. They don't know that, and if they don't. So I'm sorry, what was the second part of the question?
All the things for granted.
And white people do take a lot of things for granted. Yeah. And
I don't know. I mean, I think that white people are very informed that we live in a system of white supremacy. I think they may be oblivious to the fact maybe they don't care that they're in a system of racism, but I do think that they're informed. They know who's white, who's non-white, and how to treat these non-white people based on various racial classifications. They know to treat the black person as the raping savage lunatic. They know to treat the Asian person as the brainy emasculated nerd, sociopath. I think that white people are very aware. So I don't know. I just don't buy that white people aren't aware or are ignorant of their supreme position in our current universe. And I guess what.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that you have any thoughts there.
Yeah, no, I agree that they do hold these, but I think these stereotypes and all these that white people hold, they are ignorant that they are necessarily wrong and that they're bad to hold. I think it's so I think through media, through who's showed in the media, what kind of news is shown, how it's shown with different, how different people of different colors are shown through the media, sort of works to I forget what the word I'm looking for is. Do you know what the word I'm looking for is? To unconsciously, so they can internalize all these things, all these different stereotypes, and they don't even realize that they internalize them to the extent that I know they become desensitized, and they sort of don't realize that that like, oh, if they pass through this black neighborhood, they don't realize that they actually lock all the car doors, or they don't realize the little things that they do that are actually overtly racist. They clutch their bags. They don't realize with job applications, if they tell themselves perfectly legitimate lies, in that if they're looking at two job applications, one is a white applicant, one is a black applicant, they will tell themselves some kind of lie that, oh yeah, this white applicant's better, and not think of it that it's because the applicant's white. Just think of it, oh, I might be able to work better with this person because they went to this and this school, and that's 10 minutes from where my school was, whereas the black person went a little bit further away, or they will tell themselves some kind of excuse to make them, they don't realize that it's actually a racist that the reason they don't want to work with the black person is for a racist reason, whereas just to make themselves feel better. So I think, in conclusion, I think white people tell themselves lies to make it appear to themselves and to everyone else that they're not racist. Like they'll say,
I totally agree with that. Keep going.
That they say that it's one thing that always gets me is that one thing that a friend says is that if you can count how many black friends you have on your hand, you're racist. And that a lot of white people, whenever you say that they're racist, they'll say, I'm not, I have a black friend, or I'm not, I have an Asian friend, and they don't realize how that in itself is actually racist. So it's, yeah, and I think that's what white people need to be educated on, that these things that they do are actually racist.
Okay, so just to clarify, I guess to make it more brief, you said that a white person, they believe that themselves practicing racism is the correct thing to do, that this is the natural order of things, this is what I should be doing. Is that an accurate, I guess, summation of what you just said?
In some ways, they don't, because I don't think white people see it as racism. They just see it as them living their lives, and they see it as a natural order, and they see it as them living their lives, not as necessarily they don't count it as racism. They don't think of it as being racist.
Wow.
And I think that's where the danger lies in, is that a lot of whites are so ready to believe that we're in a post-racial society and in a colorblind society as well. I think that's one thing as well, is that white people think that we're in a colorblind society, whereas that's not actually the case. And that thinking we're in a colorblind society is actually doing almost as much, if not more, harm.
Refinement.
I was just about to say refinement. Certainly the refinement stage of racism and white supremacy. I just wanted to point out you saying that white people try to convince themselves, and especially non-white people, that they are not racist, that they are not racist white supremacists. And I think that to a certain degree that they've been successful for a long, long time. Just not here, but worldwide.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree.
I guess with that, do you think that it is wise, logical for non-white people to be suspicious of every white person that they come in contact with, no matter what that white person is saying or doing, to prove that they are not racist?
I think, honestly, yeah. My friend's saying that that's what people of color deal with every day. I think it's almost. I think it's fair for people of color to be suspicious of every white person they come in contact with. I think it's fair. I do think. I know that I personally still have probably some things that I do that are really negative and really racist, aversely racist, and I do try to change that with myself, but it's something that is unfortunately been and I'm trying to educate myself to not do these things, but it's something that's been, I guess, ingrained in me. Not ingrained in me, but just sort of from media, from other influences, from school, from education, the way education is. I guess it has been ingrained in me, and it has been to some extent also ingrained into all people, even people of color.
I would say that along with those areas of activity, I would also point to just the language. You just said fair quite a few times, and just the word fair. It's legitimate, it's correct, it's reasonable, it's beautiful, and it's white. And just in these things are deeply ingrained into all non-white people, I would suspect.
Yeah, I guess two things. You just said that you engage in racist practices, whether subconsciously or consciously, from time to time. I will give you two that I suspect you're doing one right now. One is conscious, one is unconscious. I suspect what Vickiss just pointed out about the usage of your term fair, I believe that could have been an unconscious act of racism, and your conscious act of racism, I suppose, would be that you do have your non-white friend helping you out with the answers. Can she actually hop on the line too? How are we looking with time?
She's
Hi, I'm sorry, I came in late.
It's all good.
Actually, can I just explain as to why she's here in the first place? Because I misunderstood what you originally were asking me for the interview for, and I thought you were asking for how racism is viewed on college campuses. So I thought I would give the sort of my perspective, and I'm not very, because I don't experience racism on college campuses, I know there's things that I missed I don't see. That's why I invited her initially to be on this program.
Oh, definitely.
But
I don't have any problem with
no qualms.
Yeah, no problem with her being here. I just
no, I can see that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you wanted to introduce yourself, to the conversation, and how are you guys looking with time? I just want to be mindful of that. If we have any callers or anything.
I still have some more time. I don't know about Samita has like 20 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yep, and I have a little bit more if you guys want to talk.
Okay, cool. So if you wanted to introduce yourself, non-white female, I'm sorry, I do not know your name.
Hi, I'm Samita.
Say a little bit more.
I am a fourth year here at Colgate. I am a neuroscience major. I'm Indo-Caribbean, and I've migrated here in 2001.
Yes, ma'am. What Caribbean island are you from?
Guyana.
Guyana? Okay. So mainland South America. And what is your racial classification, if I could ask?
I'm Indo-Caribbean.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay. So I guess we can get into, your experiences with white supremacy on college campuses, and I guess how the trifling white people at Colgate have treated you. Do you have any, anecdotes, or did you hear the portion of the program where we talking about the attitude that non-white people are simply there because of affirmative action, and et cetera? And do you get any of that type of attitude, or?
Yeah, I did hear it all. I actually experienced it a lot on this campus because I was one of the students of OUS. And so I tend to get, you came in through OUS, I don't think you got so much advantage, but yet it's kind of hard for me to try to justify myself at all times to people, I got here on my own merit, because they only see me as somebody who got in because of what OUS deems me as, someone who was a first generation college student, who's a minority, who comes from a lower income household, who didn't go to a good school, good high school with good resources. And so that's basically what I have to defend at all times, that I worked for what I got and how I got here. I didn't only come because of affirmative action.
4 years of neuroscience. I suspect that the proof is in the pudding, that you are not just hanging around there. But yeah, I've had similar experiences as well, where people regarded me as not being worthy of being there. I've had some situations where classmates have shunned me or left me with all the work on assignments, or didn't regard my input at all. Have you had any situations similar to that?
Oh yeah, especially being a natural science major on this campus, especially for minority students, it is extremely hard to get into the groove of things and to ask for help and to be able to talk to other students, because most of the times you're sitting in a classroom with 14, 15 people, and none of them, except for yourself, is a minority. And the uncomfortable feeling that you get at some point is like, it's all judgment, basically. Like, oh, you're not smart enough to be in this class, or things like that. And so I find myself constantly sitting there very quietly, not answering questions or not participating because of it. And it's something I've been working towards in my past years, but it's still hard at some point, and I can understand totally when the freshmen and the sophomores come in and I talk to them and they're like, oh, I don't talk, or it's hard for me to speak in class because of this, because I feel like I'm going to say something wrong and everybody's going to judge me. So it's just it's a trip every day.
Wow. Why unfortunate.
Know the feeling. Vickiss, did you have any questions?
Wow. Oh, wow. I guess I would ask just from the faculty. I know that you said that you experienced this type of mistreatment and subjugation by the students, but just from the faculty, do you feel that there's any type of academic bias coming from white faculty members?
I've had some encounters, but for the most part, it hasn't been as dominant as the students. But there is a burst of racism, and I don't know how to put this. They have an underlying of some partiality to white students, and you can tell normally if you go to office hours or if just speaking to a professor, you get a feeling. And I guess you find out which professors you would more willingly talk to, and those are the ones you normally seek.
Typical. I guess to bring it back to just the article, I Am Racist and So Are You, that Olivia wrote. I guess what are your thoughts on what Olivia has to say, and do you think that I just want to know from a non-white person's perspective, what did this article say to you, and what did you learn from it, or gain from it?
Well, Olivia and I are in a class together called The Discourses of Whiteness, and her article, it's a really good class. Her article basically talks and relates everything that we've been learning and reading about, and so I feel that it's just a summation of everything that's happened through history, and that's just needs to be pinpointed and pointed out to white students on campus, and not only white students on campus. I'd be very happy if people outside of this campus read this article like you guys did, but I feel that it was a really good point for her to do it, because it gave facts, it gave references. It wasn't just, I'm just going to talk about it and not give references, not portray the logical side of it, which other articles that I read in the Maroon News through our school were all about emotions and all anger, and to some extent all anger, and I felt that people didn't take it rationally, and her article was very rational, and so it got across to more people, because I think people logically will be able to think more rationally if they're given a rational point of view.
And I think if it's coming from a white person, I think that has a lot. I think that has a lot to do with it.
It does.
Definitely.
So, you said that earlier when we were talking about being suspicious of white people, being suspicious of all white people, no matter what they're doing or saying. And I believe you said that we do this every day. Is that true? Is that what you said earlier?
Yeah. I guess I've had this conversation with so many friends before, and I'm speaking for myself. I constantly have my guard up. I don't trust anyone until I know that I'm able to speak with them on a level that I know that everyone has an underlying of racism at some point, and my guard's always up until I know that I can drop it just a little bit or a few inches. But I still think that a lot of students on this campus especially always have their guard up, and that's just coming from the set of friends that I have, that we always have our guard up. We always look behind our backs. We always think about, oh, yeah, what are they going to say if we say this or if we act this way? And so we do things to make sure that we're not spoken about or talked about, to counteract those feelings and those thoughts.
Okay. I guess I would ask, are you suspicious of Olivia? And Olivia, do you think that it is correct for any non-white person to even be suspicious of you, no matter what you're saying or doing, or are you offended if a non-white person is suspicious of you?
Do you want me? It might be easier if I answer first, just because you don't feel bad. Actually, I do think it's correct for non-white people to be suspicious of me. I grow more and more suspicious of myself. I do have to question what I do, and I think it's something that I try to do, but I'm still working on some things. So I do think it's correct for non-white people to be suspicious of me. I do try to be open. I know I will never be able to understand completely all the situation that people of color put in, and I mean not many people are put in, but I do try, and I don't think that's enough. I know I do keep up to educate myself, but I do think it's going on to stand, but I do think it's correct for non-white people to be suspicious of me when they meet me.
And coming back to the question that you asked me, I met Olivia in OUS 4.5 years ago, and I was suspicious. I didn't know if I could trust her. I didn't know what to think of her. And for my entire freshman year, I didn't speak to Olivia. Mm-hmm. We weren't friends. We were acquaintances. And through a mutual friend, I got to know Olivia. And now seeing it, we have a lot of, we are really close now, and we talk a lot about what may be offensive to me or what things that she might do that would offend me. And we have that open dialogue, which I feel is a lot more, it helps me a lot to be more open with her as well and to be able to trust her. So I guess in the end I was, and now I'm not as much.
Okay.
I guess I would ask Olivia, how often do you let non-white people know that you could be, you could be a racist, and that they should be suspicious of you? Do you do that on a regular basis?
I mean, I have. I do try to. I know that. I mean, I'm kind of I'm kind of a weird case. I do talk very negatively about white people, and I've been more and more putting myself into that category for reasons not included in this before. I've been more and more thinking of myself as I'm putting myself into that category, and yeah. So I guess I talk about race a lot with friends, and it's a topic that really interests me. Racism is a topic that really interests me, so I do like to talk about it a lot. And yeah, no, I do more and more let people know that yes, I could be racist, I could be doing racist things, and that all white people do. It's something that's inherent.
Oh. Well, I think it's interesting that you say that it's inherent, and that that all white people do it. And I believe from your article and just from the title, "I am racist and so are you," that you're saying that all white people are racist, white supremacists. And I guess I would ask, would you say that that white in many cases, in many even in a sentence and just in many applications, that white means racist? When a person is saying that I am a white person, they are essentially saying that I am a racist. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, the two are synonymous to me.
And I guess I would ask your friend, does that also make logical sense to you as well?
It really does, and I do believe that as well. It is. They are one and the same.
I certainly agree myself. D-Train?
Yes. I guess, what are you guys' thoughts on sexual intercourse between white people who people seem to agree are racist and non-white people, as long as white supremacy exists?
This is kind of a difficult question for me, because I actually have never dated a white person, so I think I have some. I'm going to try to not include my personal situation in this answer, but there's a couple of things that even like I, as a white person dating non-white people, do struggle with, in that I think that white people are sometimes very from the white females are sometimes viewed for black males or for non-white males as something to attain to, like, oh, he's dating a white girl. Oh, damn, that's like, it's seen as sort of like a positive, which is something that I think is very negative. And also, I think that that there's just the way that I think black women are viewed very negatively in society, and I think that it's not right for I almost feel I feel like the black women are just underappreciated in society. In the dating scene.
Really? Okay. Wow. Wow. I think that is very, very interesting. Just many things I have to say about that.
Yeah.
I would, you said that you the males that you haven't dated a white person.
Mm-hmm.
Have the males that you've primarily dated been black males?
A few of them have. A couple of them have.
Okay. And I just think it's interesting that you say that you're a person that you're admitting to be a racist, and that you know that I believe in your article you even said that you have this superior, the superior position in society, that you know that you're going to initially or naturally be more desirable because you're a white person or look like a white person.
I'm sorry, say that?
That you're because you are a white person, that you're the ideal of beauty and what is correct in this society.
In society, right?
Yes. And that I just find it very interesting that these are you would do this and still engage in sexual intercourse with a person with a non-white person that you that you know is in a subordinate position in society. Is sort of a form of social pedophilia, in my opinion. And I just think it was interesting that you also said that black females certainly appreciated in the society. Certainly, articles saying that they're the most unattractive females on the planet. Coming out that came out a few months ago. Why are black women single and things of that nature. And I would just think it's also interesting that you do that, but still date a black, taking one off the market. You still have your black male, even though you see outright that black females are being separated from black males, just with the prison system, killing them, and just all sorts of forms of mistreatment. I just find that very interesting.
Mm-hmm. To give the standpoint, I guess, of how I see it, I honestly have never been mentally attracted to a white man, so that's why I guess I haven't. I've never been able to. Just because of that, I haven't had a relationship or dated a white man, and at the same time, I guess you can't help who you fall in love with or who you're attracted to. But I do see that's why this is like a tricky. It's a hard question for me to answer, because I do see that standpoint, but at the same time, like I haven't been attracted to any white guy, and so it hasn't happened.
Do you think? Oh, I'm sorry. I was just going to ask. Do you think that the reason that you are not attracted to white males is that because, by your own admission, that all white people are racist? Does that have anything to do with it?
Honestly, it could be the thought has crossed my mind. And yeah, it could be.
Okay, so I guess just the one thing that I would throw out there, if that is the case, that I think that you are engaging in a practice of racism. If you're stating that that you couldn't see yourself with a white male because all white people are racist, and you're not applying that own logic to yourself.
Yeah.
And where non-white people aren't viewing you as a racist. I'm certain that these non-white people that you have dated don't view you as a racist. And I just think that could be potentially dangerous, very dangerous. But I don't know. Vic, did you have any more questions about that subject?
I guess I would just ask for clarity. Do you think it's correct for white people to engage, even though that you say that you admit that that you're a racist, and that it's incorrect that you're a racist, but also I guess, do you think that it's correct for an admitted racist to engage in sexual intercourse with a with a non-white person, or for white people in general to engage in sexual intercourse with non-white people?
Do I think that's wrong?
Do you think it's correct or incorrect for that to take place?
I honestly can't say. I'm sorry, I have to think about it more. I honestly can't say it's either or. But I guess I can see I can't see either or at this. I'd have to think about it a little bit more. I don't think that's something that you can say it's right or wrong to do. I've seen many successful relationships with people of the same race and people of different races, and it's hard for me to say that the relationships of people of different races specifically of a white person with a non-white person was inherently incorrect. I can't say that it was incorrect if it's a good, healthy relationship where both people feel loved. But yeah, so I can't say either or right now.
I guess, what is your definition of race? I know that term gets thrown around a lot by all people, white people and non-white people. I guess, what is your definition? And I guess both of you could answer this. What is your definition of race?
I think it's a socially constructed way of society views you based on your skin tone. It's the socially constructed way people view you based on your skin tone.
Same thing I was going to say. I guess it's a definition that we've both talked about to a certain extent because of this class and all that it's taught us this past semester. So it is a socially constructed view of people according to their skin tone and their physical characteristics.
Okay. In the racist studies class, I know you said whiteness studies, but if we're agreeing that white equals racist, and I guess what authors do you guys like? What works do you guys study? Non-white people, white people. I guess what particular? Who in particular do you study? Like who work?
We've studied Egan, reading Bell Hooks, Noper, Baldwin, Wise, Tim Wise. Who else? Lipsitz.
We've read Omnian,
Winnett. Yeah.
I can't remember who else.
I think those are the main ones.
Have you guys discussed Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's work at all?
No.
Okay.
What's his name?
Black female, Frances Cress Welsing. There's actually a YouTube video. I can actually forward you a YouTube video where she debated Dr. William Shockley. He was the fellow white male who invented the field effect transistor. Anyway, later on in life, he became a eugenicist, and he ended up debating Dr. Welsing on Tony Brown's Journal. That was a show that was on the air for about 30 years, I believe. I can send you guys that YouTube link, and you could check some of her work out. But I think she does some constructive work.
Okay. Yeah.
Tim Wise, my favorite.
Oh man.
Not really.
Yep. We understand.
Yeah.
Begin checking his work is hilarious.
What exactly is hilarious about Mr. Tim Wise, who is an admitted racist, by the way?
Yeah.
He still benefits a lot from his white privilege.
Oh yes, to no extent. I feel like part of me wants to say he's all talk and just he reaps the benefits of talking about being white and about how racist he can be, yet he uses it to his advantage, where he gains and obtains wealth and name and fame from his whiteness. So he's a walking contradiction to me.
Mm-hmm. Woo! You nailed it. Oh man, I do not like Tim Wise.
Yes. Hmm. I also wanted to go back to the article and just the part where you said that that everybody holds bigoted beliefs, and I guess I would also ask, can a non-white person be a racist? Can a non-white person practice racism, white supremacy?
No, yes and no. I think that a lot of the white supremacy and racism in society right now has been, it's so prevalent that it's also in the that people of color have sort of internalized it as well, to their detriment, and so I don't think that non-white people can be racist. I think that they can internalize the racist values, if that makes sense.
Okay. I guess at this juncture, I want to be respectful with you guys' time. I do really appreciate you coming on the program. How much more time do you guys have?
Like 5-10 minutes.
Okay, that works. I guess what I would, one thing I would ask is, what are your thoughts on the Penn State incident with Jerry Sandusky and the firing of suspected racist Joe Paterno, and the riots that ensued? Do you guys have any thoughts on?
I haven't been reading up on it as much as I should have. I just been reading a few articles. Samina said she hasn't.
I've been in labs instead of reading about the news. Sorry.
But from what I understand, he should have been fired. I don't understand. I think recently correct me if I'm wrong, but there's some backlash from Penn State University that the season is over.
Yes, ma'am. They rioted and they turned over news vans and ripped down light poles in State College because.
Yeah, I think it's messed up. I don't think it's because I think that because he has apparently, from what I understand, he has a preference for young black boys, and I think that may have, maybe that was, I don't know, maybe it's because of that people view that as, it's maybe not as bad, like we should have done at least the rest of the season. I don't know if it's because I think either way, I'm shocked to see that no matter what, that people were rioting against his being fired. It's
I mean, if you're willing to come back, I noticed this story will probably be on the news for a minute. So I guess maybe we can talk about this at a later date if you're willing to come back at a later date, because I do suspect that that this will be in the news for a good while. But anyway, Jerry Sandusky, racist white supremacist male, was all of the boys that he was involved in pedophilic activity with, apparently were black males. And it's one thing, you're raping children, but you take extremely vulnerable children and you put them in a program to just groom them and rape them. Just is unacceptable behavior. Anyway, he is out on $100,000 bail, and not only that, he's out on the bail where he doesn't have to pay unless he doesn't show up for court. He didn't have to put the money up front.
It's
privilege. Much?
Yeah. Not really surprised that that's how. I mean, it's wrong, but I'm not really surprised by how he's been treated by society, which just sucks to say.
That's how white people roll, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, it sucks indeed. It sucks indeed. I would just say, instead of saying privilege, I just think racist. I think it's because it's other white people making these decisions, these acts of white supremacy, these conscious acts of white supremacy, especially knowing that the victims of this are young black males, underaged black males, and I just think it just goes in tune with the nature of racism, white supremacy. The having sexual intercourse with somebody who's somebody who's subordinate to you. I think that's part of the thrill of racism, as we just previously discussed. I guess we have. Would you have time for a couple of questions from some of our callers?
Sure.
Okay. We have. And by the way, if you would like to call in and ask a question, the number is 917-889-2965. That's 917-889-2965. Last four digits, 8536. Your line is open.
Good evening to everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes. Now, I do believe that on a couple of occasions, Ms. Straub was committing was committing acts of conscious racism. Number one, by stating that this white racist homosexual pedophile, Sandusky, has a preference for young black boys. Now, again, that is incorrect. An adult male cannot and should not, under any circumstances, prefer to have sex with boys. So to say that's his preference is just wrong. And two, I notice a lot of times you said they, as in white people, instead of, if you admit that you're a racist and you say your article is I'm a racist and so are you, the correct thing to have said would have been we as white people, not they as white people. Because I have seen that several times with guests on this program and others. In other words, it's like, okay, you can admit to being a racist, but don't really mean me. Just think about the other whites. And also, the fact, and when you spoke on Tim Wise, who we all agree is allowed, how he takes it, you said he takes advantages, being a white person, so forth. The fact that you say you date black men, I mean, that's kind of the same thing. In other words, you will take advantage of your status and position and the fact that that recent article said, well, if the black female is the least attractive, but the black male is the most attractive man on the planet, let me get him in spite of her, in spite of what this does to cohesiveness between black men and black women.
Okay. So to address the second part of what you said, I completely agree. It's something I should work on, using we instead of white people, instead of they. I am included in that, and I should work on, as much as I don't want to be included in it, I am included in it, and I do need to work on including myself in that. So thank you for pointing that out to me. And I don't really understand what you were saying about dating black men.
Okay.
Please elaborate on that. On that question about that. Was that more of a question?
All right, I'll say it again. I'll say it again. If you believe that black women are mistreated so badly, then why date black men in order to cause further problems, when you should be, as a white person, working to see black people in a cohesive manner?
Okay. Sorry, keep going?
No, I'm done.
Okay. Okay. So I think that whenever I've dated a man of color, or specifically a black man, it's been I guess I've never really thought about it in that way, to that extent. Maybe this was just me taking my white privilege into just taking advantage of that, in that I saw this man that was attracted to me. I was attracted to him, and that was all that I looked at, and I guess I didn't bring in that aspect of, or I didn't not date him, despite what I know of how black women are viewed on the dating scene. So I don't really know what else to elaborate on that. I guess I just never really looked that far into it, which probably is my white privilege letting me not look into it, or it's my white privilege making me not look into it, further into it.
All right, that's all. If anyone else wants to say something, go ahead.
Okay, we have one more caller, and then we'll let the guests. This is Eric. I'm sorry. Last four digits 7012 7012. Your mic is hot. If you have any questions.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just had one quick question for Olivia. What is it that you said you weren't mentally attracted to white males. What is it about non males that is mentally attractive?
I guess because of I generally cannot have, or I have not met a white male that I can really have an honest conversation about racism with. I have not met, which I can have with people of color. I have also, I guess, one of the things is there's have been struggles in my life that I've tried to overcome, and I guess I see in people of color, I guess I see that I know that there have been struggles that they have had to overcome, so I can more relate to them on that in different ways, not in the same way, but in different ways. And just the conversations I'm able to have with people of color have been more fruitful and more substantial than I've had with white men.
Interesting.
Roger. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
you had another question.
Yeah, that was it. And I don't believe the non-female on the line. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Sumita.
Okay, yeah, I didn't believe. I might have missed your response to the question about white people being in so-called interracial relationships with white people, and that was my only other question. What's your view on it?
Well, my thing is that I haven't looked at it through the lens of how Olivia's looked at it. I have friends that have been in interracial relationships, and I've been in one as well. And so it's on the same basis of Olivia, where if I find someone attractive and I can have conversations with them and be who I am, then it doesn't matter to me, and I haven't looked at it through the lens of a white racial frame or through the lens of through that lens. The friends that I've had who've been in interracial relationships, I don't think have seen it that way either. And it would be an interesting study for me to see if I can further analyze what they think and how they feel about their interracial relationships. But at this point, I can't say.
Oh, Ms. Demita?
Sumita, yeah.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
You stated that you and your friends, I guess they are other non-white people, correct?
Yes.
That you keep up your guard and you have a healthy suspicion.
Yeah.
Upon reading your friend's article, are you afraid that suspicion may diminish? Of all whites, including her?
My suspicion, upon reading that article, I don't think my suspicion is going to diminish, because I've read and understood the facts and what she claims, but I also have seen things that makes me still have my guard up, no matter what. It's going to take a long time for me to process and put my guard down, and so I think that even with reading what my friend has written, it won't make my suspicions go away or even diminish at any time soon, at least.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. I thank Samita and Olivia for your time this evening. It's definitely, and if it's been a constructive investment of your time, I'd definitely like to have both of you guys back, and we could, perhaps have another discussion. I think it was fruitful. I think it was constructive. I definitely learned a lot. And I believe Vickiss had one more question before you departed. You ladies departed. Vickiss, did you?
Yes, I did. Since you say that we are in you agree that we're in a system of racism, white supremacy, and that you believe there's an unjust system that should be replaced with justice, what weaknesses do white people have that non-white people can exploit to replace white supremacy with justice?
Honestly, I can't. That's a hard question.
What do you think?
I don't, I honestly can't think of one. I think being called a racist, for me says, but I guess because even when Samita mentioned that being called a racist is, she said sort of under her breath, that's one weakness. But in essence, I don't know how much of a weakness that is, in that at the end of the day, white people can choose whether or not to believe that or acknowledge it. And it's, I think that there's nothing personally that can be done to, or there's nothing that can be done to white people on a grand scale, save for the only thing I can think of is institutionally change. But this is something that's just very hard, that will, at this point in time, I don't see it happening in my lifetime, unfortunately, but I think institutional, just laws need to be changed, and the way education is taught needs to be changed. Those are the two things that come to my forefront. But I don't know how feasible it is and how immediate that will be. I think white people need to be educated. I don't know, because white people have not had that much struggle, so I don't know what kind of one, we have not had that much struggle, so I don't know what one thing could be targeted that would just be able to sort of put us down. Yes.
Really, flawless victory is
Sorry?
Is it just I just think it's I certainly see it happening. If a dedicated few can find out how to find the weakness and find and start doing constructive things. I do see this happening in my lifetime. I don't think it's another 1,000 years, but that's I could be incorrect, but that's what I am working towards. I just think it's interesting that I ask you what weaknesses do white people have, and it's just none. I believe that as a white person, and knowing that how white people are racist, how white supremacy works more than all non-white people. Especially a person who can write an article about it and get quite in depth about how it is to be a white person. I just think it's interesting that you can't think of any weaknesses or anything like that. I guess just to sorry for a follow-up question, but just what should non-white people do to eradicate racism, white supremacy? Or what do you think that would be constructive alongside being suspicious of white people.
For non-white people to do?
Yes.
I think education's honestly the best thing. I think it's something that, like I said before, it's not necessarily the job of non-white people to do. I don't think it's fair to expect.
Fair.
Huh? Okay, that word again. Yes. Sorry. I don't think it's right to expect people of color to educate. I think it's I think that something that people in general need to do is keep educating themselves. And I think that it's honestly it's something that I have to think about more. It's a question I'm sorry I really can't answer on the spot, and it's one of the things I'm still trying to learn about. So I'm sorry I can't answer that right now eloquently on the spot with a straightforward answer.
Very interesting. I guess, Dietrich, as you were saying offline about, we were saying about how, well, you said that, there needs to be education and everything, but I believe that non-white people have been yelling for years, we're not beasts, we're not animals. Let me out of these chains. Don't rape me. Having signs up that say, I'm a man at civil rights movements. I believe, 4.0 GPAs and, doctorate degrees. I believe that, and even the more...
President of the United States.
Chemistry. I mean, just, you're President of the United States. I believe that non-white people have made an adequate case to white people worldwide. But I still believe that, no matter what, white people are still going to practice racism, white supremacy, no matter how much education that they know. I believe that, white people do know who the Moors are and Moors were, and know that the capabilities of non-white people worldwide. They're, white people are only 7%, I believe 8% of the world's population. I just think that no matter how much so-called education that you keep saying that non-white people have to give white people, I don't believe that any level of education matters to white people. I mean, white people have the ability to decide if a non-white person is allowed to read or not. So, I don't think any amount of so-called education that you're speaking about really computes with me.
I think we might also have different sort of ideas of what education is. I'm thinking of education as in, like, philosophers who are studied. It's all basically white philosophers, things like that, and white accomplishments. And that's why I find it difficult, precisely what you were saying before about non-white people having proven themselves that they have reached all these great goals, and they have proven that they're not any of these negative stereotypes. And precisely because of that, that's why, and because there's still this racism and white supremacy that's prevalent, that's why I just don't know what else non-white people can do besides, because even though they have, I guess, proven themselves, it's not been enough for white people. And I think that's where just a radical change in education needs to happen. I think it needs to be just straight down from the core. It's not something that's going to be easily changed or taken out of. I guess that's where we differ, and that you have options, and this is Yeah.
Well, I find it interesting that you said earlier that racism, that being a racist white person is something that's just natural and normal and inherent, but you believe that education can change something that's, as you said, inherent. That's all.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Oh, I just said that's all.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, thank you both for coming on the program, and definitely, if you guys would like to come back, we can definitely pick it up from here. What non-white people should be doing and what white people should be doing as well to end this system of domination. But again, I do thank you guys. You didn't have to take out time of your evenings, and I know the end of the semester is coming up, and I'm sure you guys have a lot of things you could be doing. So definitely thank you, ladies, and hopefully we can talk to you guys again.
Yes. Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Right.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Reckless 2.0.
Oh, Reckless 2.0. Whew. That was Miss Olivia Straub. Mm-hmm. I'm a racist, and so are you.
If you're white, of course.
If you're white, of course. If you'd like to call in and comment about our guest, or just to listen in after 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please call 917-889-2965. That's 917-889-2965. And wow, D-Train, what did you think of Miss Straub? Do you believe that she was practicing racism, white supremacy during the program at any time?
Hey man, I called it out during the program. I mean, yeah, most definitely, consciously and unconsciously. I suspect. I could be incorrect, but I definitely think that she practiced white supremacy during the program.
I just want to say I agree with the both of you.
Definitely. You even called her out on something during the program. But, that's what we expect from white people. Really, all I can ask from a white person is to really just be honest. At this point, I mean, again, this is her words, not mine. She said every single white person is a racist. And if that is the case, then, all I can really ask for is honesty at this point. How can we effectively, neutralize these people through whatever means?
No weaknesses, flawless victories.
Well, I mean, I guess the evidence would suggest that she don't have any weaknesses, man, oh man. They always get the last laugh in the end. That is for sure. Even when counter-violence strategies have worked, they subverted non-white people through other methods. And Haiti and Ethiopia are two places that I'm thinking of where counter-violent wars with white people have been won, and white people just went ahead and in some other area of activity, effectively close them out. So, yeah, I definitely, I hope she comes back, because I definitely want to know what she thinks that non-white people should be doing. She should definitely think about that, and what white people should be doing who say that they're against racism.
Well, all I have to say is her friend Demeter, I'm going to have to take her for her word that she says suspicion will not diminish.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I might have to take her for her word.
She said during the program, she said that she was extremely suspicious of Olivia when she first met her. Wouldn't even talk to her. And now that I guess she knows that Olivia is a quote-unquote race-aware white person, now her suspicion has dwindled, but it hasn't gone away entirely.
Mm.
That was her own admission.
Yeah.
You know, being
also,
around
Olivia,
them.
sorry. I was saying, also, Olivia remind me of the woman that writes the blog, The Prey Mindset.
Joanna?
Yeah.
Yes. D-Train said something about that earlier, that Joanna, just very, very much so, that especially her not even having that, especially when she said she didn't have a mental connection or mental attraction to white men, but had one to a non-white man.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely vintage Joanna. Again, who I think has she admitted that she's a racist?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Admitted racist.
Everything. You know, I'm racist, but I just can't stay out of bed.
Joanna, who does have constructive information, I would add, but you know, she's a racist. You know.
Hello?
Yes, you can be heard.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to say that I enjoyed the conversation that you two had with the two ladies who were kind enough to call in. Thought it was very positive. Very positive.
I definitely think it was an interesting conversation. You know what was interesting, what struck me as interesting, is that Samita said that these racists on campus, you know, still thought of her as an affirmative action student and a whatever, despite her racial classification not being, you know, her not being a black female. That was kind of interesting. I wonder how dark she is, though.
What?
Something to do with it too.
But in a way, that doesn't surprise me. You know, I'll tell you why. I don't remember when the whole Asian model minority, program, not so much program, when that whole phrase Asian model minority came out. If you remember, white people were praising Asian Americans, you know, they're so much better than we as black Americans. You know, they can just come here and they're so excellent in academics. But then when they started, when test scores started showing that they were, you know, outdoing white people in such spectacular numbers, what did white people do? They pass rules in college campuses to limit the amount of Asian American students that can come. Now, I thought, you know, work hard and you get rewarded. But, you know, but apparently there was only so much those Asian kids were allowed to do. You know, you can be smart, but not too smart. You know, that's what the white people were telling them. So it wouldn't surprise me that these white kids would say to Miss Demeter that, oh, you're just here because you're not qualified. You're here to fill some quota. And I'm willing to bet if she was in the room with 10 of them, she'd probably be smarter than 9 or all of them. But this just, as we've been saying past couple of days, it's just the way that these people roll.
Yep, totally agree. I mean, you know, at this point, you know, I'm really disgusted. You know, at this point, you know, something has to be done sooner than later.
Yeah.
Excuse me, disgusted with what?
Oh, with racist white people. Quite disgusted.
There's something particular that's happened between yesterday and today that has elevated your level of disgust?
Yeah, it's been a tough week, especially with that riot at Penn State and all of the child pedophilia charges that have emerged, and yeah, it's just been really people are really trying my patience.
That preference?
Yeah, that was what I had to point out to Ms. Olivia. Grown man having preference for boys.
Greco-Roman behavior. Greco-Roman, definitely.
So it's
and again,
the pedophilia in particular this week that's sort of driven you over the edge? That'd be fair to say.
I'm not quite over the edge yet, but yeah, I'm definitely wearing quite thin. Yeah, pretty thin.
So, I'm sorry, how many, I know he's been charged with 8 counts of child molestation that they can prove, but how many has he been accused of?
From what I've heard, it's been up to 40, with 17. 40? Yeah, with 17 different black males, and
17 different black males, 40.
Well, I believe most of them were black males, if not all of them. Yeah, quite trifling, racist behavior, and the whole cover-up, even more disgraceful. And I do suspect.
You mean like having one of his friends being the judge and getting him off on parole?
And his lawyer got pedophile charges for getting a teen girl pregnant at 49.
Yes, in Cincinnati, I did see that.
Who is this?
Sandusky's lawyer.
Yes, Sandusky's lawyer.
The guy who was on the next to Bob Costas last night.
Yeah. He had I guess statutory rape charges in Ohio. He was representing a 17-year-old female and their family for something, and he ended up having sexual intercourse with that female and ended up facing charges for it. I can't recall what he was representing her for, but
and I think about, like I said, and I just look at the protection. Like I said, that's essentially what that riot was for. Defending the actions of this beast. Not the victims, but like I said, the actions of this beast. And I thought about Michael Jackson. No description of him having showers with boys. No description of any kind of sexual contact witnessed by anybody. None of these things. And I just thought about how he faced nearly 30 years in prison off a little white boy's word. Just a little white boy saying he molested me. No kind of physical evidence whatsoever or anything. Just that little white boy's word was enough to take him to trial. But yet this dude, vile upon vileness, is, you know, if you saw him on Today's Show, he talks about how I'll admit I shouldn't have showered with these young boys that we were horsing around, and then had the audacity to suggest that if you saw this interview, he had the audacity to suggest that this 10-year-old boy somehow initiated this. Oh, he turned on the water. He was
oh my gosh.
He was moving, you know, he was moving around. I mean, again, watch the Today interview with Bob Costas and see if I'm lying. So you will get the idea that this beast is putting it on this little 10-year-old boy.
Interesting. Interesting words.
Oh.
That just.
And he also described it as horsing around. Again, that idea that somehow black people are beasts, but it's all right for him to be in the shower with this, you know, beast horsing around.
Definitely. Bestial nature of white people, pedophilic, it's all sorts of trifling, deviant, nasty, sadistic, terroristic behavior. I mean, and as I was telling Vickiss earlier, something just tells me that this is going to be, you know, DSK but worse all over again, where this guy's going to get off, or he's going to, you know, disappear, or something of that nature. I even think that, wasn't there a DA that attempted to prosecute him or was going to prosecute him before, like in 2005, and then he just disappeared off of the face of the earth, and now he's like classified legally dead?
That is true. I forget the gentleman's name, but he's been missing about 5 to 7 years now.
And it's just embarrassing, man.
If I might interject, there are also a number of witnesses who had actually seen these acts take place. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And yet for these people, they thought, oh, well, I'll just go tell my superior and that'll be A-okay. And, you know, just sort of wonder, you know, if you saw that kind of act, A, like, why didn't you actually go break it up yourself? And then B, you know, if you're around like 3 months later and you saw the same person still having his job and not in jail, I mean, do you just shrug your shoulders and say, like, well, you know, I told my boss I did everything I was supposed to do? I mean, that's sort of the other part of it that's not really being discussed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. The one guy even kept his job. I believe he's in, like, protective custody now or something. I think he's been getting death threats. But he's still...
That's just me. Y'all don't have to agree with it.
Oh, totally understand. He's in protective custody, but he's technically still employed by the Penn State coaching staff. And what's really interesting is now that he's changing his story and saying that he did, in fact, stop the not altercation, but the incident between this white rapist and this little child. So now he's saying that he did physically intervene, which is, and I think that Sandusky's attorney could probably use that as an opening to get him off on some charges now that this guy's changing his story, you know?
Yeah, that is Yeah, more than likely. You know, and you know, if you gentlemen think you feel bad, if you were to listen to pre-show last night on this, it was real heart-wrenching.
I suspect so. When I catch that program in the morning, yeah, I'm certain I'm going to be ready. Yeah.
I just want to. I just have to play it. I have to. Sorry. Second.
Are you a pedophile?
No.
Are you sexually attracted to young boys, to underage boys?
Am I sexually attracted to underage boys? Sexually attracted? You know, no, I enjoy young people. I love to be around them. But no, I'm not sexually attracted to young boys. That's what.
First off, Jigsaw?
Yeah.
Jigsaw?
He does have that jigsaw.
Let's play a game.
I know.
Interesting. Second, you never answered the question.
Well, afterwards.
No. I actually believe he did answer the question. Remember, he said he loves to be around young people.
Exactly. I took that scenario, that line of questioning, and I just applied it to several scenarios, such as, are you a racist? It's like, well, I don't really like black people. I don't want to be around them. But no, I'm not a racist. That's what it sounds like to me. You know, it's just.
Are you attracted to females?
Are you attracted to females? Well, I enjoy being around women. You know, I like them. But no, I'm not attracted to females. It's just, it's quite suspicious. Quite racist, too. But, you know, being slippery words. But.
You know, and, you know, like I said, it is tight. I mean, it is, you know, really horrific what we have to stomach, you know, this, all the other stuff, the alleged terror plot that was so underreported simply because the terror suspects are white, that happened last week.
I definitely do think that we should spend significant time talking about that. Yeah, definitely. That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, and I think one of them worked for CDC, the other was a USDA lab technician. Well, I will save that. Like you said, you want to discuss that at a later time, I will save the info for that.
Oh, no, we can discuss it now, but I was thinking that we probably should devote, you know, at least an hour of another program to discussing that bioterrorist. I believe they were manufacturing biological weapons.
Yeah, ricin to be exact. Ricin to be exact.
And we're going to drop it on, and I think some of the cities that they named were Atlanta, Newark, New Jersey,
Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah, most of these cities were.
Yeah, New Orleans.
Yeah, cities with high concentrations of non-white people, for one, and black people, especially with Atlanta and New Orleans.
And Newark, you know, which is just right close to where I am.
Yeah. Yep.
But, you know, their last names weren't Muhammad or Aziz. So there's no need to overemphasize this.
And what's also interesting is that these people worked for the government, and
That's the point I made. Like I said, a USDA lab technician.
Somebody
and they
who
caught
worked
this.
At this.
Yes.
Somebody who worked at the CDC. I mean, come on. You work at the CDC and you're making biological weapons. That is almost as ridiculous as you working at DHS and talking about formula. It's ridiculous.
Nah, I mean, I wouldn't do that to the person I believe you're speaking of. I wouldn't put him with them now.
Excuse me, D-Train?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sorry. Which biological weapon did they make in particular?
Ricin.
Ricin?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is M1 Ricin. And
did they get a reason for it, or just we feel like making ricin?
Oh, they were stating how they were tired of certain, they were tired of certain people, and they just felt that the way to save America from problems was commit acts of murder.
Right. I'm sorry. I heard someone say that the CDC was making biological weapons. That's what I meant when I said that.
Oh no. This gentleman he worked for the CDC.
Yeah.
And he was in a militia group, I guess, separate from the CDC, and he was making biological weapons. I'm sorry if I wasn't clear.
Okay, so the CDC itself had nothing to do with it.
No, but the thing is,
that's the fact that if you work for such a important government organization, I just find it interesting that this person worked for such an important government organization, but was making biological weapons.
Right. Yeah. Well, when they found out, he was fired, correct?
No, he had stopped working for them, but it's just the idea that one of them, like I said, worked for CDC. It was stated his position was maintenance, but being around that environment, what you can learn is amazing. And the guy that actually made the ricin and was caught with drums of castor beans, he also worked for the government as a USDA lab technician. You see. So they are obviously applying what they learned on the job to attempt to do this horrific terrorist event. I mean, and you would think something like that would get major news coverage, right? But again,
I don't know. It's not clear what role, if any, these two government organizations played in actually enabling these two people to attempt to make these biological weapons.
Well, like I said, if you're a lab technician for one, think about what you are asked to create. Even though the USDA is supposed to be an organization to protect people from bad food and make sure food is regulated properly, the idea, it is obvious that some other things can be going on. And as for the CDC, I mean, it says Center to Prevent Disease Control.
Another
but
hypothesis. Sorry, I don't mean to talk over you. Go ahead.
No, I was saying as for the CDC, even though it says Center for Disease Control, there have been reports that they actually do make biological weapons, even though that's not supposed to be their stated title.
The CDC?
Yeah.
Which biological weapons in particular?
Well, there are people that believe, the AIDS virus is a CDC manufactured weapon. I don't know. I don't know it to be true, but these are just things.
Well, that's kind of sad because the CDC was one of the few government organizations that actually put time, money, people, and resources into researching HIV. Back when Ronald Reagan wouldn't even mention its name on public television.
Yeah.
While people were dying in droves in San Francisco and all around the country. So, I don't know where the rumor that the CDC invented HIV came from, but just factually, it's just not correct.
Well, like I said, I don't know, but this is just what's out there.
I guess my point.
Yeah, it's out there, but it's wrong. And when it's brought up, not saying that it's wrong gives sort of the false impression that these claims have some sort of foothold in reality, when the truth is that they don't.
I guess if I can make my point more clear, is that I wasn't saying that these government organizations were implicated in the manufacture of biological weapons. I just found it extremely interesting that these gentlemen worked for the U.S. government while on the side producing or attempting to produce biological weapons. And I think that's significant and that it should be pointed out that just for the bigger point that the government knows what their employees and their former employees are doing.
Do they really?
Well, it appears that they do.
Because, I was on a government payroll for a year, and I didn't notice anybody peering into my kitchen window.
Well, they wouldn't be really that good at it if you detected them.
So you're saying that they're watching all their employees all the time, whether they know it or not?
Oh no, I'm not saying all of the time, but I'm saying that there has to be some
enough of the time to know whether or not they'd be making ricin in their basement.
Oh, definitely. I just don't think that you could be. I don't think you could be engaged in creating biochemical weapons and be employed by the government and these people not knowing what you're doing. Extensive background checks that they have to run on people.
And if first off, we don't know how long they were working for the government. Maybe they were just a disgruntled employee when they started. And then over the course of 5 years, they're like, you know what? I hate the world. I want to watch it burn. Let me do something about it. With the initial background check, take that up.
Well,
no,
exactly. Again, according to, like I said, the reports I read, all of these suspected white terrorists were retired. Retired and living off pensions, but this is what they were planning on doing, instead of enjoying their retirement, like most people do.
And it doesn't help that they were involved in an actual militia that I believe is on hate watch from the Southern Poverty Law Center. That definitely didn't help either, but I'm sure.
it's not exactly asking for, trying to see the world burn Joker style. It's a more, I'm tired of these niggers in this area of the world, and we need to remove them.
Exactly. Because when I saw those cities that were targeted, I had this discussion with Gus. I thought of that 70s movie, 3 the Hard Way. You remember there was a very similar plot in that movie. I don't know if y'all ever saw the picture. Did any of you?
Yeah, I've seen parts of it.
I haven't seen the whole thing, but I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. But that's just what that plot reminds me of.
I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, how did the government get tipped off on these guys in the first place? I'm sure that if you work at the other gentleman worked at the FDA, correct?
Yeah, USDA.
Yeah, and he was a lab technician. I mean, I'm guessing you have to at least have an 11 or 13 security clearance for that position, and I just don't see how these white people in the government don't know what you're doing, and you have that security clearance in the government, even after you retire. I mean, they're still paying you, so don't see it.
Yeah.
Ridiculous, and the fact that it just didn't get coverage, unbelievable. I just keep thinking about the hypocrisy that white supremacy demands from everybody, and just how blatant it was with our guest. Again, especially with Miss Olivia, either hypocrisy or just blatant hypocrisy, really.
Can you give a specific example of?
Well,
I apologize. I tuned in late to the program, so I didn't get to catch all of it. I think a lot of the conversation that I heard may have been interpreted in the wrong context. So
I'm sure you grabbed the context. Just a variety of things. I think primarily and most damaging is just that she's saying that she's, I am a racist. All non-white people should be, very suspicious of me. She in her article goes in depth about what white supremacy is, gives a little bit how it works, and just because I look like a white person, I'm desired, I'm more beautiful, et cetera, et cetera. And she, she would do that. She would say all that, but still, I have never, she's been in sexual relationships and exclusively sexual relationships with non-white people, and that's one of the one of the largest contradictions I've seen from her, and with asking her the question, does she think it's correct or incorrect, and she was like, well,
neither.
I can't really say if it's correct or incorrect, and then she gave this bullshit fall in love, horseshit, all of that. It's just, she just couldn't say, she couldn't, bring herself to really, because she knows what she would be saying about herself, even though she's already saying, she agreed that it was, she even, agreed that it was, social pedophilia. She agreed that, white equals, racist. And, but it's just not going to, stop her from getting her mandingo dick.
Wow.
Well,
go ahead, Emma.
I don't know. I think you need to cut her a little bit of slack.
A white person slack? Wow.
No, these issues are never easy to discuss, and especially when you start to come to worldviews that might imply that you are not a good moral person. Those aren't easy realizations to make. Actually, no, I can't really say that. Never mind. It's not
not easy? What is not easy?
Coming to hold certain worldviews that imply that you yourself are not a good, moral, righteous person. You know, especially because, you know, like, she's in this position through no fault of her own. You know, literally, like, she was born that.
Well, I believe even Fuller says, you know, that's unfortunate, you know, that, you know, there's very little that a white person can do to not, I don't want to, I'm paraphrasing what I've heard him say a few weeks ago, that, you know, you're born that way and there's nothing you can do, and there's very little that you can do to not be a racist.
No, I didn't. I didn't.
I'm not. Oh yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, give you those quotes. I was just I guess kind of parsing out what Mr. Neely Fuller said in relation to what you just shared, and you know, trying to see where the logic takes me. Just thinking out loud a little bit. I guess, does anybody else have any thoughts? Because I just kind of got derailed.
Cut her some slack. No, she's a white person, and you know, it's just I can't. You know, as a non-white person, you know, one should not be sympathetic to that if she's already admitting that she's a racist, that she shouldn't, you know, and then she just couldn't, you know, say, well, you know, when we point out that it's logically that non-white people are having, you know, pedophilic, socially pedophilic sex with white people, and she admitted that relationship, and still participates in that, you know, that activity. I think that she's very conscious and very aware about her position in society and how she, you know, and how she feels about it, and you know, and just because she's that way, I think, you know, and she sees that, you know, she mentioned many times that, you know, black females, black women are, you know, really dumped out. They're really, you know, mistreated in society. But yeah, she's going to go and grab one of their black males.
I totally agree with that, and I would just add that during the program, I don't know if you were listening, when I asked her, based on her opinion that all white people are racist, I asked her and I said, you know, is the reason that you don't date white men is because all white people are racist? And she said, perhaps. So if that is the case, then it is highly hypocritical for her to expect a non-white person to date her, engage in sexual intercourse with her, when she won't even date white people because, in her opinion, all white people are racist. Does that make sense?
Oh, no, you're absolutely correct, but again, it goes back to what I've said before. When these guests come on the show and they say, yes, all white people are racist, be suspicious of all of us, what they really mean, what they're really saying is everybody but me. I have to be excused. You know, this is why I pointed out to her when he kept saying they. And the correct thing to have said would have been we as.
That's true, but in all fairness to the guests, you know, when you pointed that out,
fairness.
Yes. Hello?
Go ahead, we're listening.
Sorry, I said fair. In all fairness to the guest, when that was pointed out, she did say, you know, I realize I say that, and that's something I need to work on. You know, it's not, I don't know. I just think you can be a little bit more understanding of the fact that if she were to take this value system to its logical conclusion, it would be damaging to her self-esteem and self-worth.
Because she wouldn't, it would be very damaging because her self-esteem is predicated on the fact that there's a system of white supremacy. That, she's, so recessive and beautiful and blonde. I saw some pictures, and that, she's at Colgate, and that reality, that reality is. But I really think that,
It's not even that. It's just a simple, like walking around and saying, like, you know what, I'm not a bad person. I'm a decent human being. And
I mean, well,
because she's not saying there are people who she's saying she's saying I am a racist, but she's also said that being racist is something that's inherent and natural and nothing wrong, and it took white people centuries.
Did she actually say there's nothing wrong with it?
Nothing wrong with. She said that white people, again, distancing herself, taking herself out of the equation of being a racist, says that white people think that it's, natural and normal, and inherent to have these thoughts. They unconsciously grab their purse, or they don't know that, no, they're practicing racism because they're a white person. She's trying to make it like, she said that it's something that's normal, natural for for white people to do. It's not exactly, something that, I would just say that, she should get cut slack on, and she, especially since she's very conscious of it. She's very conscious, and, walking around being a bad person, it's not a bad, do you really think that during, at a lynching, that the people who went there and left, they were like, oh, I'm just such a bad person killing this nigger, acknowledging that. Knowing that they're a racist, having signs up where people need to go and not go, and they, this reality, I don't think that, it's that difficult and that heartbreaking and tragic for a white person to realize they're a racist. It's just really like, damn right I'm a racist. I'm a white person. I'm trying to live here on this fucking planet and dominate. And then, and that's more of, especially since after she wrote the article, nobody even, a lot of people, especially from her, people didn't even bat an eye, at it because, I'm thinking they weren't outraged because it's true. And it's like, so, I'm going to Colgate and I'm going to, dominate, and so are my kids, and they're probably going to go to Colgate or an Ivy League school too.
Colgate's not an Ivy League school.
Or,
sorry.
It's true. It's true. It's not.
Liberal.
I don't know. I think that everybody would benefit if more people started participating in racial dialogue.
And I thought that's what we've been doing the past 2.5 hours.
Oh, no, it sort of feels as if, like this young lady, starts coming forward, and then after she's gone, is sort of getting, attacked almost.
I don't know. I don't think that at all. I don't think we said anything that we hadn't said to her on the program.
Yeah, we have.
Definitely challenged her multiple times during the program, and this is what this program is all about, especially when we have white guests on.
We get at these white folks, and we're not attacking her because we said these things to her. The non-white person that she had next to her agreed with much of what we had to say, and she's not exactly being attacked. Besides, she admitted that she's a racist. What else are we? She's an admitted racist, and we're supposed to be suspicious of this person.
Okay.
I guess you can articulate your point a bit more. I guess I'm trying to see where you're coming from here. What did we say to make you feel like we were attacking Miss Olivia, or?
Well, I mean, it's like I said, like you're not really giving her, an inch even, and like not even an iota of slack.
Oh, would that require dropping suspicion of her as an admitted racist? or dropping the level of suspicion?
Not necessarily.
Did we call her names?
No. I guess I'm not really articulating my point very well. Let me give it some thought, and I'll get back to you once I can find a better way to phrase it.
Okay. Like I said, I definitely think that, she came, she showed up, and she provided some constructive information. I also think that she practiced racism. And she agreed. I'll point that out. She agreed. Definitely. But yeah, I do agree with your point, Player Hater, where you said that dialoguing about this thing between non-white people and between white people and non-white people will provide people with more clarity on how the system operates, on how racism operates, and I guess will lead us to figuring out constructive ways to attack the problem. So I do agree with that point. But, it's got to get past talking at some point. And, because, they're not going to stop. I mean, it's been, I think that the evidence is out there that they're not going to stop. So, just talking to them isn't quite going to work to completely solve this.
I do agree that this isn't going to stop. I mean, all you have to do is look at how. Yeah, I have a bet with people. Which country's going to be attacked next, Iran or Syria?
Iran.
By white
Iran.
Iran, yeah.
Yeah.
I suspect. Oh, go ahead. Finish.
And again, and when it happens, even though white people in this country have said, after we found out there were no WMDs, we shouldn't have gone in Iraq. It was the wrong thing to do. However, since we're there, we got to support them. And then move on to Libya. And like I said, now come on Iran or Syria. But you don't hear what have these countries done to this country. You do not hear whether these countries declare war on the United States of America or England or France or any of these countries. No, it's just, white people want their militaries to take their stuff. So that's it. And in spite of the talk about the economy, it'll be okay to spend money on another military action.
Well, what's wrong with taking their stuff?
Say again?
What's wrong with taking their stuff?
If you feel that way, fine. Then I hope you're as equally understanding if one day someone attempts to take your wallet.
Well, I mean, if I can stop them, great. And if I can, too bad.
That's true, but be understanding.
Me assigning a moral value to the outcome makes no difference as to whether the outcome actually happens.
I guess switching gears, but still staying on Iran. Preparedness. What should black people, non-white people in this area of the world be doing in preparation for an attack that I feel is imminent on the country known as Iran? Just in case this starts a world war, what should we be doing? What if they all draft?
World War II, which countries?
I suspect this could start a world conflict where you have basically white people against white people from Russia and Iran and China.
But so you think that this will trigger a war between the United States and Russia?
I think it could. I think it could trigger a war between...
No. I mean, you went through the entire Cold War without actually being in a state of war with Russia.
Proxy wars, Vietnam, Korea.
Yeah, but proxy wars, that's not a world war. There's a big difference.
Oh. Well,
and think about it. If communism was the quote-unquote main enemy, think about what Stokely Carmichael, a.k.a. Kwame Ture, said years ago. Why is it the United States, why is it this country only use violence to stop communism in Latin America, in Asia? They never use violence to stop communism in Europe.
That is quite interesting.
Which countries?
I believe Yugoslavia was communist.
Poland was.
And Poland was.
Say again?
Soviet Union. And there are a lot of countries, the Soviet Union maybe, which had a nuclear arsenal as big or bigger than ours.
Warsaw Pact nations. Well, this is true. But at the same time, these countries in Latin America and Cuba particularly were also armed, also allied with, or quote-unquote allied with the white people from the Soviet Union.
Some of them
that didn't stop the Bay of Pigs. That didn't stop what happened in Chile. That didn't stop what happened in El Salvador, Nicaragua. I can go on and on.
Well, the nations that had close protection by nuclear weapons, like, the countries in the Warsaw Pact didn't get invaded, and those that had to fend for themselves, had to fend for themselves, and they didn't do such a good job of it. Maybe Gaddafi could have taken a lesson from that and kept his nuclear program, but he decided to get rid of it, and look what happened.
Never acquiesce to racist man, definitely. But definitely when you have this situation where, I guess anybody in the panel, what exactly is incorrect about if the Iranians, Persians are building nuclear weapons? Is there anything incorrect about that, considering that the United States and Russia and all of these countries have thousands of nuclear weapons?
What is incorrect? I'm sure there's, just the fact that it's, building weapons, getting a weapons program, just more weapons in general. It's a detriment because it's going to, it just adds more potential to the destruction. But I would say that there are it might be practical and necessary, and some incorrect things are practical and necessary in certain situations, especially when it comes to the area of war.
Well, I think the better question is why would we as America not want them to have nuclear weapons?
We?
Yes, we.
Okay. We're crazy Muslim niggers. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
You see, now, Now I wonder if you see, it's also really to keep the one white nation in that region the most powerful. That nation, of course, being Israel. And and that's really it. And don't let anybody tell you you're an anti-Semite for making that statement.
Whoa, anti-Semite. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And again, there's no one more anti-Semitic than the white people in Israel who have turned the Gaza Strip into a ghetto. They've turned the Gaza Strip into the Warsaw Ghetto. That's all I have to say to the Semites, so-called Palestinians who reside in that area of the world. So, yeah, I'm not backed off by that talk. You know, I'll continue to criticize the white supremacist state of Israel. I won't be backed off by that threat of being called an anti-Semite. However inaccurately that is used.
It's true. Yeah, because that's really all that is. I mean, let's not, regardless of how many nuclear weapons Israel may have, they got all the conventional weapons that they need, and like I said, this is basically just to ensure that they are the dominant power, and of course, being the white nation in that region, they have to be the dominant power. No one else is supposed to be on equal footing with them.
That's interesting. I definitely agree with that. And now that brings this whole situation now just makes me even more suspicious of the so-called uprising that happened in Iran a couple of years ago, or was that last year? Was that last year, or was that a couple of years ago?
I believe that was early 2010. Now you ask what should black people do? If war in Iran comes, I believe stay away from certain areas like where people go to hang out. Because I believe those areas may be targeted. Because if you watch several news reports, you hear about discos or dance clubs that cater to people from the United States or Britain. They're hanging out there. Next thing you know, bang, they're attacked. So I could kind of imagine that happening here. So if Iran's attacked, I believe first thing to do is stay away from dance clubs.
What about, and I think Player Hater talked about this, he not seeing this turning into a more large-scale global conflict. But I guess I'll just remind everybody that Iran is not Iraq. They are a regional power. I believe they are the most powerful people in that region as far as military is concerned. Iran and... Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that in 1991 you could say the same things about Iraq.
Oh, yeah. You definitely have a point there. I guess. No, I was just going to say my concern would be if there was some sort of draft for military service. What excuses should we be giving white people in order not to participate in their global scheme for terrorism? In mind.
You could, I would say basic age, say you're too old. Even though I got a feeling that the age limit may be raised, like it was when the nation of Iraq was invaded. It went up 8 years, so it'll probably go up another 8 years. If not, just say you're too old. Or you could, you can't say you're homosexual anymore because now you can openly serve as one.
That is quite interesting that you said that, and they lifted that policy.
I'm sorry, say that again?
The don't ask, don't tell policy. You could have, I guess, used the fact that you were a anti-homosexual to escape military service.
Yeah, I think that would be okay.
You can also find out. Certain illnesses that could keep you out, but you have to make sure you know what illness it is. Because I watched a HBO documentary. It's about recruitment, and I'm not sure whether the kid was white or racially ambiguous, but he was going into the Army, and even though this kid was only 17 with diabetes, they were still taking him. And I'm like, and I know years ago that was not the case.
Right. And, just for the record, I mean, I'm suggesting that we look for legal channels to do this.
Right.
Ways
that's
that
what I'm saying.
are definitely for white people's laws. And
right.
I guess one point that I would bring up is that I believe Amish people and Quakers are registered as conscientious objectors to all military conflicts involving racist man and racist woman. And I was just wondering, why aren't black people in this country, why don't they get that status, seeing that they're not fighting wars that benefit them in any way? And I would think that maybe that would be one option that we would look at, to talk to our local congressmen about perhaps bringing up that idea. I'm not sure it'll fly, but,
So that
at this
is
point you
true.
gotta try something.
I mean, I think we remembered what happened to Muhammad Ali when he didn't want to go on religious reasons. And more importantly, he didn't want to go on the fact that these weren't his enemies. They weren't the ones that were jacking him up.
Yeah.
Ain't no Vietnamese ever called me nigger.
I mean, yeah. Yep, and certainly, and I would say that, in conjunction with, it was even in conjunction with his formal religion, which was very, very much opposed to the way he practiced it was very, very much opposed to racism, white supremacy, and he was very outspoken about that. And of course, all legal means. Of course, like I said, it's it would be great. You could just be out there, upfront, and honest. No, I'm not. I'm not interested in killing non-whites. This is something that I don't personally believe in, and I think
it's your war. I mean, it's your war.
Exactly, and it's it's a legitimate statement. It's your war. Of course, you're going to have to. There's going to be white people's repercussions from that, and I believe that's part of it being a system. You should be able to, and if we weren't, if we did it in unison, or we weren't so, really afraid of white people, just really afraid of white people, we would do that more so, more often, instead of, yes, NASA, let me, kill some other, some sand niggers or, whatever you think. Oh yeah, and I just wanted to point out that Iranians are classified as white. In this area of the world. And also I've seen on Stormfront many people always talking about their Iranian Aryan heritage, talking about them invading India and skinning them alive, invading black India, and things of that nature. So I believe that, even though a lot of them still have some tar brush left on them, Iran still holds a special place in some racist white supremacist hearts. As white people.
I think that's all. I think that's boo-boo, man. I think that's just white people taking credit for non-white people's achievements.
That is all that is. I mean, because I laugh when I hear one of these white people talking about, I'm a proud Aryan. I constantly say I've never seen a white Aryan.
The Aryans are the Persians, and they are the beige non-white people that you see today. These are the same non-white people 10 years ago.
Exactly. If you saw that racist movie 300.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Remember how the Iranians in that movie were black and very effeminate?
Mm-hmm.
And the white people were the epitome of the white men were the epitome of macho-ness. Well, anyway, those are the true Aryans. So these people now call themselves Aryans are foolishness, but again, because we're in this system, they can just take people's identity and put it on themselves.
Yep. I mean, this whole quote-unquote Middle Eastern, North African thing being white, really it's just a way by proxy to classify the people, the white people who call themselves Jews as white. I don't see that as anything else other than that. And it's just still non-white people's achievements, because most of that area of the world, that area, North Africa, Egypt, the area in the Levant, Persia, India, these are the places that, most of the significant things in recorded history happened. And, it's just white people taking credit for what non-white people did. So when you see that classification, white equals people from Europe and North Africa,